Of course, it cannot recreate the profound fear of being kidnapped, tortured, or maimed if trying to resist what the Lord's Resistance Army is doing. 40,000 children make that trip every night and every morning, and yet they are frequently still captured. Some of you might be aware of other uses of child soldiers. If you are listening to current affairs, you know that the Janjaweed in the region of Darfur in the Sudan is notorious for recruiting child soldiers as young as 7 years old. Incidentally, if you wonder about the meaning of the word Janjaweed, it is an Arabic word which means a man with a gun on a horse, or sometimes it is just translated as a devil riding a horse. But beyond Uganda and the Sudan, the use of child soldiers, even today, is much broader spread. In the last 10 years, 2 million children have died in armed combat as soldiers. 5 million children have been maimed while in the midst of combat, and at least 10 million children have been so psychologically scarred from their actions as child soldiers that they have been completely unable to take up a normal existence afterward. Today, there are 300,000 child soldiers active in guerrilla forces and in rebellion armies around the world. Some as young as 7 years old, the majority between the ages of 11 and 17. It might seem ridiculous to you that anybody would want to use children as soldiers, and yet the sad truth is this. In guerrilla warfare, and in the types of rebellion where they are used, children make excellent soldiers. They are easily intimidated with threats of death or maiming. They will do things that no one else will do because they are afraid for themselves and can be so bullied that they will not even think of the consequences of what they are up to. Children who are afraid will do anything without question. In many instances and first-hand accounts, we read of children who are forced to kill their best friends in order to demonstrate their allegiance to whatsoever military or guerrilla organization they have given their allegiance. A child will do anything to spare their family. And if a guerrilla force comes in and says to that child, if you will not serve with us, we will kill your parents and your brothers and sisters, what choice does that child have? Children are small and stealthy and can often carry out missions in secret that an adult soldier could not do. And of course, one of the greatest things about modern technology is that it has created weapons of warfare that are light and child-friendly. Even an automatic Kalashnikov or an AK-47 is now light enough and portable enough that a little child can carry and use it, and with only 4.5 pounds of trigger tension required, an 8-year-old can squeeze off 100 rounds in a minute just as efficiently as an adult. In the places where those children are serving today, they have 3 primary roles. Firstly, they are the first line in combat, engaging in active warfare. Secondly, they serve in combat support in such missions as spying, delivering messages, acting as porters, being used as human shields and being used as human mine detectors, walking 100 feet ahead of the adult troops, often being maimed, losing a limb or losing life in order to mark the path for the adults coming behind them. And thirdly, of course, young girls are often kidnapped and used as sex slaves for the soldiers. I want to read you 3 brief first-hand comments from child soldiers in order to give you a little bit of the flavor of what war has done for them. A 14-year-old boy says this: "I became a combatant when I was 8 years old. I became a fighter because I felt that my friends and my parents were suffering. I joined a faction and served as a bodyguard to one of the chiefs of staff. I used an AK-47. It wasn't too heavy. I used it often. I was often really afraid. I was given cigarettes and marijuana during the war. That made it a little easier. But I've changed now and I don't smoke. I don't really think about the war much now. I talk to counselors a lot about what happened. I want to learn to be a carpenter, but first I want to go back to school." Another child soldier, now at the age of 17, his name Momo Famole, says, "The fighting started getting close to my village and me and my family fled. Everybody fled. My mother, my father, my late brother and sister. Everybody ran away, but we got separated. I tried to look for them, but I couldn't find them. I found some of my friends. We were all hungry, but we couldn't find any food. My friends told me to join them, and the 4 of us went into the bush. We went to the nearest city and ran into one of the factions. They told us only soldiers could pass. If we didn't join them, they wouldn't let us through. So we joined. I was 10 years old. We had to go and fight on the front. On the days that we fought, we got food, but if we didn't go to the front, we weren't given anything to eat." Another 13-year-old boy speaks of how he was separated from his parents and had to fight for his survival. "I fired mortar shells. I experienced terrible things. I saw terrible things, and I did terrible things. I saw people being killed. They burned people and killed young babies. I did these things too because we had to obey orders. After the war, I tried to find my family, but they have disappeared. So now I live on a roadside near a store. That's where I live and sleep. I am haunted by what I did during the war. My heart is constantly hurting me. But I have lost my ability to feel. You could cut me with a knife, and I